Good morning, children. Hope you are doing very good in your studies. Now your schools are open. My last video was lesson 1 of class 7. Now today I will teach you class 6 lesson 1. How daddy decided what he wanted to be. What does it mean, children? One question often comes to a child, that what you want to be in your life. Here, how daddy decided what he wanted to be is the title of the story, and it has been written by Alexander Ruskin. One thing you always should remember, that you have to learn the lesson name and the writer's name. Okay, it can come in your examination. Now come to the lesson pre-reading task. What is your father's profession? Your father's profession doesn't matter in your life, and sometimes it matters also. Sometimes you like your father's profession, you want to be the same, and sometimes you don't like your father's profession and want to do something else. Okay, here you have to give the answer according to your opinion. First of all, you have to write your father's profession, whether he is a doctor, officer, engineer, businessman, whatever he is doing. Second question is, what profession would you like to choose? Means, would you like to choose the same profession or the different one? And third is the reason for your choice. Means, if you like the same profession in which your father is, why you like that? Means, you have to give the reason in favor of that. And if you don't like to choose that, you have to write why you don't like to choose. Okay, this is your pre-reading task. You have to do with your opinion, with your imagination. Now let's start, children, without wasting our time. And from the very beginning you have to see the video till last. Why? Because in this video only I will teach you whole lesson. Okay, let's start. Read the following story and find out how the author's daddy decided what he wanted to be. When daddy was little, he was often asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Daddy always had an answer ready, but each time his answer was different. At first, daddy wanted to be a night watchman. He liked to think that while the whole town was asleep, the night watchman was up, and he liked to think that he could make a noise when everyone was sleeping. He was quite certain he wanted to be a night watchman when he grew up. Okay, children, let's get it first. Okay, try to understand it, what the lesson is telling. When writer's daddy, he is writer's daddy, that's why writer is calling daddy all the time. When writer's daddy was a child, one question often come to him. Okay, which question? What he would become when he grew up. And every time his answer was different. First of all, he wanted to be a night watchman. Why he wanted to be a night watchman? Because he thought that the night watchman awake whole night when everyone was sleeping, and he was very excited to think that he would make a noise when everyone slept. Now what happened? He was quite certain he wanted to be a night watchman when he grew up, but then the ice cream man came along with his bright green cart. Why he could push a cart? He could eat all the ice cream he wanted to. "I'll eat a stick of ice cream for everyone I sell," daddy thought, "and I'll treat little children to free ice cream." Now when he met an ice cream seller, he thought that he wanted to become an ice cream seller. Why? Because he wanted to eat the stick of each flavor he would sell. He wanted to make the children eat free ice cream. He wanted to give the treat of free ice cream to all the children. Okay. And sometimes little daddy's parents were very surprised by hearing that what their son wanted to be, an ice cream man. But they took it in a very funny way. Okay. Then one day little daddy saw a man at the railway station. The man kept playing with the cars and locomotives, but these were real cars and real locomotives. He would jump onto the platforms and crawl under the cars, playing a strange and wonderful games. Who's that man? Daddy asked. He is the shunter, he was told. Okay, someone told him that he was shunter. And shunter means, look at this. Shunt means to move a carriage from one track to another. You must have seen in the railway track that someone move a carriage from one track to another. That was shunter. Okay. So now daddy wanted to be a shunter. But don't think that he didn't want to be an ice cream man now. He wanted to do both the thing. He wants to become a shunter and he wants to become an ice cream man also. How he will do the both thing? Let's see. This was a problem. Daddy had decided to become a shunter, but he did not want to give up the bright green ice cream cart. At last he found a way out. And where there is a will, there is a way, you must have heard. Jahan chah wahan raha. So at last he found a way out. How he will do both the thing, he will find the way. I'll be a shunter and an ice cream man. Everyone was very surprised, but little daddy explained it all quite clearly. That's not hard at all. I'll sell ice cream in the morning. After selling it for a while, I'll go to the station. Then I'll shunt some cars and go back to sell some more ice cream. Then I'll go back to the station and shunt the cars again. And then I'll sell some more ice cream. It won't be hard because I'll park my cart near the station and I won't have far to go to the trains. What was his way? He thought that he would sell ice cream where? Near the railway station. Okay, children? Why? Because after selling some ice cream in the morning, he wanted to be a shunter. He wanted to do the job of shunter. And then after doing some shunt, he wanted to come back to his previous work, means as an ice cream seller, and wanted to sell the ice cream. This was his way to be both. And when everyone heard this, everyone laughed again. Then little daddy got angry and said, if you are going to laugh at me, I'll be a night watchman besides. After all, there's nothing to do at night. And he became angry and he told that if everyone was laughing, so I would leave everything and I would become a night watchman. It was all settled, but then daddy wanted to be a pilot and everything was settled down. Means he decided finally that he would become ice cream seller or shunter, and if not both the thing, then he would become a night watchman. Everything was settled, but then daddy wanted to be a pilot now and then actor. But after grandpa took him to a factory, he decided to be a turner. Okay, who is turner, children? A worker doing work in factory. Besides, he wanted to be a seller, and then after doing the job of turner, he wanted to become a seller also, or at least a shepherd. He thought that at least I would become a shepherd. Why? Because he wanted to spend his days walking about with the cows, okay, cracking his whip loudly. He was feeling very excited in this thought that he would whip loudly against the cause, okay, while walking, like a shepherd. And after so many thoughts, finally he decided that he really wanted to be a dog. Oh my God. What he wanted to be finally? A dog. All that day he ran around on all fours, barking at strangers. Okay, and for becoming a dog, he started doing practice. You can say that very hard. Practice very hard he started doing. He started running on his four legs like a dog. He started barking at strangers and tried to bite an old lady also when she tried to pat on his back. Okay, now what happened? He thought that if he went, Daddy learned how to bark very well. He learned everything. He learned how to bark very well. He learned how to uh, run on four legs. But he couldn't learn how to scratch behind his ear with his foot. You often see that it is the habit of a dog. Dogs generally scratch behind their ears, okay, with their feet. But he couldn't do that, though he tried very hard. He tried his best to do this, but he was not become successful in that. He thought that if he went outside and sat next to Rover is a species of dog, he would learn more quickly. That's exactly what he did. What he did now, he went outside with Rover and started sitting outside, you can say. Just then an officer came walking down the street. He stopped and looked at Daddy. He watched him for a while and then he asked. One day an officer came walking down the street. He stopped for a while at Daddy. He watched him and asked, What are you doing, boy? Daddy said, I want to be a dog. Officer was very surprised. He said, Don't you want to remain human being? Daddy answered that I had been a human being for a long time. Then the officer said, What sort of a human being are you if you can't even be a dog? Means what type of human being you are if you can't be a dog. Okay, if you cannot be a dog, you are what type of human being? The officer asked, Is human being like that? क्या ऐसे होते हैं human being? Daddy asked then, What is human being like? He asked the officer that then what type of human being should be. Officer told that find the answer yourself, and he walked away. He wasn't laughing and didn't even smile, but little Daddy suddenly felt very ashamed of himself, and he began to think. He thought, and the more he thought, the more ashamed he was of himself. The officer had not explained anything to him, but he suddenly understood that he couldn't change his mind every day. And what was most important, he realized that he was too small to know what he wanted to be. The next time he was asked the same question, he remembered the officer and said, I want to be a human being. What happened, children? After that, Daddy felt ashamed suddenly. He now understood that he was too little to think that what he wanted to be. But next time, when someone asked this question again, Daddy answered that he wanted to be a human being. No one laughed, and little Daddy understood that this was the best answer of all. He still thinks so. First of all, you have to be a good human being. This is most important for a pilot and a shepherd and an ice cream man. And after all, a human being does not really have to know how to scratch behind his ear with his foot. What happened now? Daddy now understood that to be a good human being is most important than anything else. And after all, human being need not learn how to scratch behind the ear with their foot. Okay children, this is the story, and now hope you will be able to listen it more and more and answer it yourself. Okay, try to answer all the questions yourself children. It will be very helpful for your examination. Okay, share this video more and more, subscribe my channel and like it. Thank you.